Team, welcome to another edition of Raising Havana, episode 15. So if you hear a bunch of snorting in the background, that's Kevin just having a Kong. It's his feeding time, so I thought I'd hop on and do this episode now. Because why not listen to the sweet sounds of bulldogs eating food, right? So, what have we covered with Havana today? Well, we focused on three main things. I focused on boundary training, I focused on her scent pads for tracking, and I focused on her coin indication. And today was a bit of a mixed bag training-wise, to be honest with you. In terms of her scent pad, that went really, really well. We're using chicken now, and she loves chicken, so she absolutely nailed that. Was able to weave in and out of the area, kept focused, and is beginning to learn that my scent leads to really, really good stuff. It won't be long until I'm putting the coin in there for her to go and indicate on. Next, we then moved on to the actual coin indication side, and this is where stuff took a little bit of a turn. So I think my issue with the way that I'm training Havana is that my expectations are too high. So you'll see in little clips of this coin indication session that sometimes she searches it out and does really, really well, but then I push it by throwing the treat away and then re-hiding it. And she's not quite got the concept of, oh, I've gone away, I'm coming back, you want me to search and find the coin. So you'll see towards the end of this clip, you know, within it, I try quite a few times and I realise that I'm banging my head against a brick wall and it's not going to go very well. You'll see towards the end of this clip that actually I'm able to teach her to, I throw a treat away, she goes and eats it, then I come back, ask her to sit, pop the coin out a little bit out of her line of vision and give her an okay release cue, and she goes off and she searches and she's actually able to find that more or less. I still have a lot of work to do with this so that I'm happy and satisfied, but this is just a learning curve and a learning period for me and a learning period for her. She was very, very excited, which was lovely to see, but it did impact her focus, but that's all good. Then we did some boundary training. So boundary training is when I want the dog to stay in something like a bed, a crate, the boot of the car, the sofa, whatever it is, for an indeterminate amount of time until I give them a release cue like okay. So you see again, we struggled with this because I pushed Havana a little bit. So I started moving around with her bowl of food. I started, you know, going in different directions, and majority of the time she stayed. But when we started moving into actually lowering the bowl, we really, really struggled. And you'll see here that actually me moving that bowl down is a big cue for her to come and get it. And that makes sense, right? Because normally you put a bowl down, she'll come and eat it. But I really wanted her to understand that she can only leave that boundary of that bed when I cue her. We also made it a bit harder because that bed boundary, it was the first time we'd ever taken it outside. So what we did is I took a big step back, I started lowering the bowl, and as I lowered the bowl and she maintained position, I rewarded her. So I didn't worry about a sit, a down, a stand, whatever position she was in. I just got her used to that lowering of the bowl, bringing it back up, lowering it again, and rewarding her intermittently as we did that. You'll also notice that occasionally she would break and I would put her back on, onto the boundary. Really, really important here that you don't, if you're doing this with your dog, you don't feed them then, because what your dog is going to learn that I come off the boundary, get back on it, and I get fed. I want Havana to learn that the food comes when she stays put on that boundary, not when she leaves it. So there's a little tip. And eventually I was able to put the food on the ground without her breaking it, and then gave her the okay cue and she got to eat her chicken, which will be a massive reward for teaching her to stay on that boundary. So today was kind of a mixed bag, and it's my fault, I pushed her. But this is good learning for me. It shows me where she is expectation-wise. She didn't get too frustrated, I didn't get too frustrated, and overall it's going to be really, really good and really, really beneficial for her training going forward, now that I know how much I can push her and when to kind of ease off. Tomorrow I'm going to try and get Havana to go meet my physio for the first time, which will be really, really exciting. She is still a little bit nervous of people, but she is getting better, and so that's going to be really, really fun. I'm also going to try and take her on a little street walk and try and get some footage of us doing loose lead walking somewhere, if possible. So team, if you have any questions about this, please drop a comment down below. If you want to follow the channel, give us a subscribe, and you can find me on Facebook at Jack Fenton - the Dorset Dog Trainer. Thank you very much for watching, team, and I'll chat with you again soon. Bye!